Yeah, what is going on, everybody? This is Brave Cat here, and I've just got a random live commentary ramble here with a little bit of gameplay in the background. It's just kind of, I don't know, this kind of style of video here. Just I feel like it just helps me kind of get my thoughts out better, and can be fun as well. So playing some Beyond All Reason here. It's just a strategy RTS game that I'm not very good at. This is ridiculous of a game. I mean, it's like StarCraft, if you ever heard of that. It's like, you need hundreds, if not thousands of hours in this kind of game to really call yourself good at all, because you got to be doing like a million things in within the span of 2 seconds, and I don't do that, so that's why I'm playing against bots here. But I'm mostly just going to be rambling about how things have been, what the state of this channel is, maybe a little bit about what the state of my life is in. So, alright, so let me try to multitask a little bit here. I got some glasses. I needed glasses. I didn't know how badly I needed them until I got them, and then I'm like, oh, everything is blurry, and now everything looks good. It's funny how that works. I feel like the audio is just absolutely it's too much. It's too much. Alright, that should be better. So yeah, so there's some things I want to ramble about. So I guess I'll just kind of take you back a couple months. Well, no, this is like, so I quit my job. All right, I had a job. Well, the last job I had, I was working that job for almost 4 years. I started working there 2021, like January, and it was a great job. It was medical manufacturing. I got in there with like a good recommendation. Had a really good trainer, and that was really important because it's one of those jobs where if you don't have a good trainer, good luck, because you're not going to know how to do anything. Let's see, what am I doing? All right, let's just lock in there. So this game, you get a little planning phase here. You can kind of preemptively do some stuff. But anyways, so I ended up quitting my job about a month ago, and it's because, and this is something that I see reflected like pretty much across the board, at least here in the U.S. I'm sure a lot of other places could say similar things about their economies and job situations where companies, especially big companies, have just gotten so bad, just awful, in the way that they conduct really anything that they do. Not, of course, there's the simple ones like, oh my god, why am I creating a bunch of radar towers? I'm already like overstimulated, but that's fine. That's what it means to be Gen Z, is that you're overstimulated at all times. So anyways, though, companies are awful these days. It doesn't matter if it's McDonald's or even some smaller businesses. It's just these people don't pay their employees enough. It's all about the stocks. It's all about the shares. That's all it's about. Like literally, if the company isn't having like constant growth all the time, then apparently it's a failure, and that doesn't make any sense. You got these people making millions of dollars. And that's really what it came down to in my job is like, yeah, I had pretty decent benefits. I had, well, what they called it, competitive pay, meaning like, oh, we're not paying you really anything special, but you know what? It's better. It's slightly above average, so you better not complain, right? And then with those benefits, I mean, the healthcare system obviously in America is trash. To the point where, we're getting to the point where arguably if you don't have insurance, you actually seem to be a little bit better off than if you do have health insurance, which is just absolutely ridiculous. But that's kind of where we're at, like, I mean, that's a really broad kind of way to put it. It really depends on your situation, I guess, obviously, but that's kind of where things have been. All right, hopefully this game doesn't last too long, because this can be a very long running game. But I've got more advanced bots on my team, and the enemy team has simpler bots. So, and I'm already way behind. Like I'm already way behind. Like it's because I'm rambling, but it's fine. So what is with my channel? I decided to make a pretty huge pivot on this channel. And I mean, there's kind of a lot of factors that go into it, but I guess really to put it simply, it's like, well, I mean, life is always changing, and the only constant in life is change. Oh boy, we gotta get some towers. That's fine. The bots will protect me. See, I didn't even make another metal extractor over here. I just need to do some of this really quick. But, yeah, life is always changing, and, I could have just made a new channel since I wanted to go with music and stuff. But as you can see, I still also kind of want to do some gaming sometimes. It's really just hasn't been a very big focus compared to how it used to be. Because, yeah, games can be pretty awesome, pretty fun, a good outlet, a good creative outlet, but they can also destroy your life. Oh yeah, I'm overflowing everything because I'm not actually playing the game right now, I'm just rambling. It's fine, we're gonna go over here, and we're gonna just make... I don't know, man. It's been a while since I played this. But, I wanted to start making music because, I mean, I got FL Studio like 2 years ago, the program, and I paid for it, obviously, and it's not cheap, but I genuinely wanted to learn how to do that. Oh, you know what? Just go with that. I wanted to learn how to make music. It's been a very inspiring, creative motive for me. Because I mean, music has always been there. I'm sure you guys can also agree with this. That music is just one of those free-flowing forms of creativity and divine expression. That just it's there for you, man. The music understands us more than sometimes some of your closest friends and family. It feels like music is there when no one else is. So music has been very important for me, and I feel like I've always had kind of a strangely unique form of creativity where, and maybe it's why I don't never really get as much traction or views, other than the fact that I'm just not consistent and I don't like follow through a lot of times. But besides that, like, I do have a very strange kind of form of expression at times, especially with my music. If you've listened to my music that I've made so far, which none of it's perfect, like the tracks that I put out have so many flaws and so many things that I could have done better. But I just thought, screw it, just get the music out. It's once I get a track to a place where I'm like, hey, I did something, I made it, and I'm relatively happy with it, I just post it. Like, I'm not, even though I can definitely be a perfectionist a lot of times, sometimes you just gotta say, screw it, man, just go for it, All right, we need to actually help the front line here. So what we're gonna do is with this, want them to fight. That's not how you do that. Do that. I want them to just keep fighting up the front line all the way to the back. So the nice thing about this game is you can set up different queues and priorities and stuff, and then once you get it set up, like, you don't have to really mess with it. So, okay, we're totally out of metal. and it's because they're still building this. Yeah, see, this is why I'm not very good at this game. Like, I'm just totally stalling out on either my metal or my energy. Because, yeah, this game is really hard to balance those things, especially if you're trying to, especially if you have the intention going into it like I do right now, where I'm just commentating, I'm just doing a live ramble while I'm trying to play it. But see, again, Gen Z, that's what we're all about. We're always overstimulated. We're always trying to do, 20 things at the same time. That's just how we roll. If you're Gen Z and you're watching this and you agree, just let me know in the comments, because I swear that's how it be for a lot of us. We're so used to being overstimulated that if we're not overstimulated, it's almost like something's wrong. Like, oh, we're not putting enough burden on ourselves. Oh, we're not opening our awareness to a million things at the same time. So like we're gonna fall behind. Like that's the feeling that at least I have living in modern times. Like it feels like if you're not absolutely stretching yourself thin at all times, then you're falling behind. And I know that's not really true, but that's just like I feel like that's what I've been conditioned for. And some of those things, it's like, okay, to an extent, it can be like a blessing in disguise. Like, okay, you're always stretching yourself thin, so you're growing more in some areas, or you have the potential to take on certain challenges. But at the same time, you're stretched thin all the time, so you actually don't have the capacity to take care of yourself as you should, or do X, Y, or Z. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but it's just kind of itty what itty. I don't like saying that all the time, but itty what itty. It is what it is. Okay, let's just spam a bunch of those out and get both of those there. So, okay. We're chilling. We can just let the bots do most of the work here. We're just chilling, man. So, I mean, where has my direction come from? Because yeah, it feels like in the past year or so, especially like in the past several months, I've had such a distinct like change in my perception, my path. But really, it goes back to things like from years and years ago. Back when uh-oh, we're getting a little bit dumpstered right here. Might need the commander to defend. It really goes back to like 2017, around the time when I graduated high school. Because when I finished high school, I was not going into college, that's for sure, because college is essentially useless unless you have a clear job line, set of goals, usually trades. Like if you want to go into a trade, or other kind of more specific career path, college can be good if you know exactly what you need it for and you like basically min-max it. And a lot of times trades and whatnot will have their own schooling where you can get paid while going to school, because you're practicing that trade or skill or job while you're going to school for it. That's really the only way I see to do it nowadays. If you're not going into one of those fields, why bother with college, obviously? So I knew I wasn't going to do that. And, but my schooling did not end. In fact, it's like, after that, I wanted to learn so much more, because there's just been this, this feeling I've had since, almost as long as I could remember, that, something just, and I'm sure a lot of other people can obviously relate, that something just doesn't feel right about society, or just something. I mean, it's not even really about human society sometimes. That feeling, it just comes from just the present moment. You're just like, something just smells a little fishy, Like, what's going on? What's really going on? And they don't tell you any of this stuff in school of, truth, or really anything like that. you know, you gotta have to figure out a lot of these things. And everyone's kind of in the same boat, whether you're divided on certain topics or whether, you know, groups of people hate each other. We're all in the same boat regardless. You know, a lot of the same lines of deception and greed, they affect all of us, whether you see it or feel it or you don't. We're all affected by the decisions that impact most of the world, and you know, most of those decisions come from, you know, politicians and people in power that clearly have lost a part of themselves, a part of their human nature. They've lost a part of their perception for anything outside of themselves or material gain. And so, you know, yeah, everything affects everything. You know, heck, even back like around high school or so, like just the concepts of like quantum mechanics and consciousness, like just those beginning concepts, like not really understanding them, or I mean, I don't, those two concepts, I don't think anybody can say that they fully understand consciousness or the quantum realm, you know, but just just having those concepts enter my mind, like I felt like there was a connection between those two in particular, you know, consciousness and quantum mechanics, basically just the fact that everything is connected in some way. And so you can think about that in terms of matter or particles, but you can also think about it in terms of energy and consciousness itself, where, you know, just for example, when you say we got trouble mites over here. You know, when you think of somebody out of the blue and then all of a sudden like they happen to call you or text you, or I mean, that's just a minor example, but you know what I'm talking about. Like when you think of something and then it just appears, you know. And so it's like, okay, you can think of it like coincidence. And to an extent, yeah, sometimes it is just coincidence. But sometimes it's, you know, overall, like it seems like it's way more than that. Like, all right, we're gonna, oh, we need more metal. So, okay, so anyways, so the other subjects that I was interested in around the time of high school, after high school, came from three people on YouTube that I still follow. Oh god, okay, our commander's gonna have to nut up here. It's time to get the D out. It's time to bring out the D. Oh, and I'm dead. Okay, well that's wonderful. But it's not over yet. Even though my commander died, we can still fight. Yeah, I'm not doing very well in this game, but it's fine. We don't really need to. I'm just rambling. So anyways, back to the three main things. Or rather, the three YouTube channels that I followed pretty close out of high school. So that'll be Jimmy Corsetti of Bright Insight. What he's all about is ancient civilization, and, you know, certain theories, especially the one that intrigued me the most back then, especially, was his theory on Atlantis being the reshot structure in Africa, the Eye of Africa. Such an interesting and fascinating line of work, you know, archaeology and all that. And there's a very common theme between these three YouTubers that I'm mentioning. So the second one is Dutch Sense. He's an earthquake seismologist, geologist. He does earthquakes, okay? And he developed a method for earthquake forecasting, and a lot of the time seemed to be pretty spot on. about a 7 to 10 days watch period is what he works with. And now the sad thing with Dutch is, well, he got attacked pretty severely for the work that he was doing, and to the point where it's like, okay, it's pretty clear this guy's onto something if he's getting all this flack from other geologists or powers that be, or whatever, right? So he got a lot of flack for his earthquake forecasting, and that's kind of part of the reason why I'm making earthquake videos, is because it not only did it fascinate me enough to like actually care about it, but seeing how devoid that this society is of truth. Not just truth, but like truth. You know what I'm saying? Things that really matter, not just like, oh, what did Kim Kardashian do? Like, no, like actual stuff that matters. Most of it being grounded in actual science and actual like repeated studies and peer-reviewed papers, like that kind of truth. Okay, none of this flimsy, crap. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna make it in this game. I think we're gonna get wiped out. But you know what? Itty what itty. So okay, let's stop making those. All right, so we have Jimmy Corsetti of ancient civilization knowledge, and then we have Dutch of earthquakes. Now, what's the last one? Well, that will be Ben Davidson of suspicious observers, space weather news. That's really like the big one. Like out of all those three, like that's the big one right there, is understanding that the sun, that thing up in the sky that's like really bright and like is always there, that thing. The sun is actually what clearly impacts and has an influence, a major influence over everything. I mean, it accounts for, over 98% of the total mass of the solar system. It's the thing that everything in the system orbits around. So, and it's not just, these grand, like, epoch level changes over time. It's like the last 20 years. It's like the last 2 centuries. Like, it's like everything that happens every day with weather patterns, the climate, different cycles that range from a couple weeks to thousands of years. There's so many things that get overlooked that the sun contributes to on a daily basis. And we've been completely lied to as humans, that with the whole, climate change crap, where like, oh, humans are the thing they're changing the entire planet, or the whole climate. It's like, no. If you actually look into, all right, I'm not saying like, oh, trust the science. No, don't trust the science. Question the science. Heck, even the rabbit holes that I go down where I'm like, oh, I think there's something here. Like, there's something here that nobody else is looking at. I'm not even saying that that's like, like, oh, trust that science. Like, no, question everything. You're not conducting science if you're not questioning it. Even if you think you know the answer, even if you know the answer, if you're not still questioning it, you're not trusting in science. You're just parroting. You're just parroting something that you've heard, or something that people think that they've known for centuries. Different scientific studies or ideologies that we've had for centuries or even thousands of years, and we think it's all locked in, like, oh, that's how this works, that's how that works. No, that's just our ever-changing perception on these things. It doesn't mean like, oh, that's the end-all be-all. No, if you're not asking questions all the time, how can you hope to be correct about anything? Like, really. Alright, so let's take a little break from the rambling here and see if we can't try to play the game. So, oh man, so what is this game all about? Well, it's just a battlefield. That's all you really need to know. So, okay, looks like we're slowly pushing up. All I need to worry about at this point is some anti-nuke potential and try to get some bigger units. So, again, I'm still chilling. This is why I set things up like this so that I can just ramble and still do decently at the game. I'm just kind of messing around. So, alright, we've gone through the big three. And again, this is a pretty bold video for me to even make. I mean, just talking, just letting it fly. Because why not? You know, with everything we see happening in the world, this is just kind of part of it. It's just, you know what? Like, a lot of us are done being quiet. We're done just sitting back and watching things happen. And, you know, it's time to actually put matters into our own hands. Whatever that may be. You know, for me, it was quitting my job because I was not just burned out. I mean, I was like, I don't even know how I made it as far as I did. You know, I was getting promotions. I was like, you know, okay, raise here and there. It was still just like the bare minimum that I was getting, that any of us working at that job, which you know, none of us were getting more, you know, any more than the bare minimum back, even though we were putting in, you know, it was medical manufacturing, so it wasn't just like there was a lot on the line. Like, it was like, oh, if you screw something up, like, that's like people's lives that you're messing with. But it turns out the company itself was actually the ones that didn't care. The ones really messing with the lives of other people by not having the right quality control measures, hiring a bunch of dimwits basically for a job that they treated that job as unskilled labor, even though it clearly was pretty technical. I mean, you had to run machines and, you know, make parts that were within very small tolerances and parts that put people back together. You know, not frickin' Home Depot screws, but, you know, titanium parts that put people back together. So, and those of us that seem to actually care about our job and the quality, we didn't get anything in return. No, it was basically, it boiled down to everyone makes the same amount of money, everyone gets the same benefits basically, and I don't just mean the healthcare benefits, I just mean like even the kind of social benefits, you know, like when someone does a good job consistently and they gain merit, and it's like, oh, that person's reliable, you know, they're trustworthy. That stuff didn't really seem to matter because the people that constantly made the same mistakes, and they just got to get away with it because it's like, oh, that's just how they are, you know, don't mind them. They're always making that same mistake, so just deal with it, you know, just deal with it. Oh, but you people that are doing what you need to be doing on a daily basis and are trying your hardest, oh, well, as soon as you make one mistake, don't worry, we're going to jump right down your throat. You know, that's just how it was. Probably still is, and that's how it is at a lot of places. That's kind of what socialism does. You know, in those regards, it's like, oh, everybody gets treated the same way, regardless of how good you are or how dog shit you are. You're going to get treated the same, and you're going to get the same treatment. It's like, yeah, that's essentially what that is. You know, it's not a very good thing. Like, the merit system is gone. I mean, I'm not even just talking about my job or my experience. I've had a few jobs. But no, this is something that really started happening in the last, like, 5, 6, 7 years. You know, and I'm not even going to relate it to any presidency or political affiliation. This is just across the board. This is, I mean, you look at all these different countries, you look at all these different companies, it doesn't. Who cares who's in power, or who's president, or who's this, who's that? That's the scapegoat. It's like, we blame all of our problems on these few individuals, even though when you look past, when you look just a little bit further past the shallow waters, and you just look a little further, you see that this is actually a fundamental, institutional, deep-rooted, widespread problem that goes back centuries. It goes back thousands of years. That's why the big three that I mentioned, those three YouTubers, impacted my life so much, is because, okay, you had Jamie Corsetti, a bright insight, relaying ancient civilization. So it brought my perspective into the timeline of like thousands of years, not just, what just happened in the last 20 years. Like, no, we're talking about how did humans get to this point over the course of the entire history, because it's all connected. Bring it back to the quantum mechanics and consciousness. Everything's connected. Everything affects everything else. So this isn't just, how we got to this point isn't just the last 20 years or the last 50 or the last 200. It's the last several thousand years, possibly even more beyond that. So Jimmy brought that level of perspective. And then Dutch of the earthquake forecasting. That was really interesting to me, because what he would do with his live streams and his videos, which if you go to his channel, you'll notice there's not much going on anymore. But he would look around on Google Earth, on maps, the geology, special locations, volcanoes, you name it. He would go look around at these different earthquakes, show you what's at the location, describe, different things, geography, some parts of history here and there, technology. So, I mean, he was like a teacher. He still is. He wasn't just looking at earthquakes. He was like showing something special, and relating these different fields to each other in a way that made sense. And that's what was intriguing to me, was that, like, you get to really see how, geology, geography, and all those things function together in an interconnected way. And how that related to earthquakes was that, these things aren't just random. You can actually put the pieces together, put the dots together, and be like, okay, so this can influence that. When this happens, you could see this happen, so on and so forth. Okay, I'm waiting on this. This right here is what I'm waiting on. This stupid fusion reactor. Oh yeah, if you know anything about this game, you can tell that I'm doing things at like 1% efficiency. Look at what these bots have. These bots have a whole infrastructure of energy and metal production. They have half the map taken over. The front line is already taken over for me. I'm just chilling here, okay? Don't mind me. So anyway, what else to ramble about? Okay, so with the earthquakes, with the ancient civilization. Now, with what Ben Davidson of Space Weather News has provided, being the big one, definitely not to be taken lightly. Definitely not a field or line of knowledge that is meant for everybody, that's for sure. But I've been following it for just as long as those other two, so for almost a decade, like 7-8 years for sure. And it's taken me this time to really fathom and grasp and sort of understand what's really going on, right? Because, it's, all the changes that we see, all the fluctuations and all the tumultuous social problems that we have as society uh, is so much bigger than us. You know, we think that us humans, like, oh, this is just our little drama, you know, that it's all about us. You know, it's all of the problems in the universe is all centered around um, human relations and stuff. It's like, no, like, you gotta realize how much bigger the universe is, and it doesn't take thousands and millions of years for things to happen. Like, there's changes that happen all the time that just like that. You know, you have a massive solar flare that erupts from the sun. Bam, that can result in changes immediately and within days. I mean, there's so many examples. Like, I'm not gonna go into all of it because this video would be like 12 hours long. In fact, I don't even think I'm going to make it to the end of this game because we're just out here. But you know what? Let's see if we can do something after this gets created. What we need is economy. So let's get some of those. All right. And I'm also just chugging coffee like there's no tomorrow, so that's not really helping, but again, just overstimulation, that's what it's all about. So, man, where even was I? So anyways, honestly, if you are, you know, if you don't already know who Ben Davidson is and you are remotely interested, just go look up space weather news. I mean, just go do your homework. That's what I really mean. Go do the homework. Because it's important. And it's like Dutch would always say, don't be scared, be prepared. Like Ben Davidson says, eyes open, no fear. Be safe, everyone. It's like, you know, to have the courage to confront the frontiers of science and the frontiers of the real issues that we're dealing with today. You have to put, you know, it's not about just, oh, put aside the fear. You can't. You can't just take fear and set it off to the side. That's not how that works. You have to punch through it. You have to literally just face it. And it's okay because that's what relying on a higher power is there for. You know, there was a period of time, you know, when I was like a young teenager, middle of the road, like teen years, where I considered myself an atheist. You know, I didn't really believe in any sort of higher power, and you know, over the last 5-10 years, especially over the last couple years, I mean, that has changed dramatically. To the point where, I mean, I found myself interested in multiple different religions, like not just one. You know, it came from a lot of different spiritual guides and teachers like Ram Dass and Terrence McKenna, or you know, figures like that. But you know, some other like actual religious ones as well. But just learn, you know, looking into things, and as it relates to history, as it relates to what we feel and experience within. Again, it's all connected. It's all related. So, and that's what has been driving me the most, is being able to get through fear. You know, fear of failure, fear of existence. Like, that's a fear to have. Just the simple fear of existing. Certain people don't even feel comfortable existing, such as myself at times. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm not comfortable in my own skin. No, it's like existential. Like, oh, just the fact that I'm here experiencing this can sometimes be like, what? Like, what is going on? Like, why am I here? Like, hold up. You know, like, it goes that deep sometimes, you know. So, whatever kind of fear it is or hurdle you're facing, like, yeah, reaching out to that higher power is kind of necessary at a certain point. Otherwise, you either crumble, you rely completely on your own ego, and your materialistic nature, and you know, that's a very self-destructive path. And that relates to a lot of the patterns and habits that I've had on YouTube, where I make a bunch of content and then I take a hiatus for months to years. You know, that's what I was dealing with, was a lot of these egotistical, materialistic, mental tortures that, you know, just left me with no energy for anything. You know, like I just felt like, you know, giving up in a way. And, you know, things have been changing so rapidly that, you know, of course it's hard to even reconcile those things. But again, with the spirituality and higher power stuff, you don't even have to follow like a specific teaching or a specific belief. It's not about that. It's about what you experience, what you connect with, and, you know, what makes sense to you. And if nothing makes sense, then, well, you have to ask yourself questions. What doesn't make sense? What do you want to learn? What do you want to do? Like that's been a huge part of it, is just constantly asking myself these questions, whatever it may be. And sometimes you never get the answer, truly, but you get some sort of guidance, you get some sort of flow, some sort of direction. And even that, you know, sometimes is all that it really takes, is just a little bit of direction is all that's needed. Because then from there, then you can ask different questions. You can get invested in different things that align more with your true self. And I don't regret any of the content that I've made on YouTube or any of the things that I've done. I mean, yeah, I've had some embarrassing moments. I've had some things that, to an extent, I do kind of regret. But at the same time, when you really look at it, it's like even the mistakes, even the regrets, even the embarrassing moments are such an opportunity for growth and realization. And that's what really matters. Like, clearly nobody's here to be perfect. Nobody's here to just all of a sudden just know everything and never make a mistake, obviously. So even if you have regrets, even if you have things you're not proud of, there's a reason for that. That goes beyond, you know, whatever you can just see immediately, like, you know, the immediate consequences or how it makes you feel. It goes beyond that. So, yeah, that's what, to me, that's what a lot of spiritual teachings are about, is going beyond those simple emotions and realizing the bigger things at stake. Hold on, let me just... Okay. Since the very beginning of this, I had a slight feeling that it wasn't actually recording. Luckily it is. Yeah, I think I will post this, even if it ends up being like 40 minutes or an hour long. I don't even know if I'm going to edit it, to be honest. I mean, you know. But, yeah, speaking of that, though, so we got anti-nuke. We're making units. I'm going to go take a piss and just leave it running. Alrighty. So yeah, these glasses that I got, they're just reading glasses. Luckily, I You know, don't need to wear them all the time, but oh, they do really help, especially because they're meant for looking at screens. So it has like you can probably notice from the reflection, it's reflecting a lot of the blue light because that's what it does. It's for looking at screens mostly. So it's reflecting off a lot of that blue light, which can be very harmful. Um, so yeah, they're nice to have. I'm glad I got them. So yeah, we're just kind of chilling here. We're probably about to win, to be honest, because at this point, what I'm gonna do here is just make one of these, and then we'll basically be GG. So, now this game's kind of fun though, because I do like these kind of strategy games, even though I've never been like really that great at them. Uh, and it's because it just has to do with my style of doing things. Like if I was like actually playing this right now, like actually trying my best, I mean, I would be trying to set up my base like perfectly, basically set up the defensive perimeter perfectly before I even, try to go for an aggressive play. But if you know anything about a lot of RTS games, one of the common things with high skill RTS games is that you can't just wall yourself off and like turtle mode. Like you have to be branching out. You have to be going on the offensive just as much as the defense. And I think that's where I struggle a lot of time is I'm always trying to focus on the defense rather than the offense. But whatever. So let's see. Even though a lot of the big change in the YouTube channel has been directed towards music, well, I haven't really been dabbling too much in music lately, like in the past, week or two. And it's just because of how chaotic life always is. There's times where I will just like clearly devote myself to one or two things for like a solid 1 or 2 weeks, or even just a couple days, and like get a lot of stuff done. And then there's times where I'm like just completely scattered between a whole bunch of different things, and I'm just like trying to recalibrate my energy and focus and just get through it. I mean, there's a very weird form of like survival in modern times where it's like, okay, it's not the kind of survival where we're running away from a predator or a aggressive animal or something. We're not having to bear the extreme rugged bare bones survival that we think of when it comes to like actual survival out in the wilderness. No, we have an entirely different set of challenges in today's age that we can consider like survival. It puts us in that mindset of, oh, do I have enough resources to get through the next month? Can I pay rent? Can I do this? It's not what humans were built for. It's not what we're evolved for, but it's what we have to deal with. And it's underplayed all the time. Like, oh, you don't really have it that hard. Your ancestors were, gritting their teeth with rationing food, and I'm not saying that that's not harder. I think brutal survival like without technology. I mean, that is essentially the hardest thing humans have probably had to go through. But it's still underplayed and downplayed how similar the modern world is when it comes to that survival mechanic, where just your mind is flooded with fear and anxiety and the unknown. I mean, that part has not changed. You know, even though we have all these modern luxuries and all these benefits, we're squandering it as a species. Like, clearly, you know, we're just using each other for temporary gain instead of, you know, living in a world where this technology actually benefits everyone. Clearly, that's not the case. And hopefully we learn from it going forward. And, you know, even the times that we're living in right now, it's not going to get better. Believe me, expect it to get worse before it gets better. But that doesn't mean give up. Oh no, there's so much power and there's so much to live for, even in just every little moment. Okay, so we're closing out on the game here because, well, I'm going to give it like 5 minutes. In the next 5 minutes, it'll be won. It'll be over. If not from the bots fighting for me, all it's going to take is one swift move. So I'll kind of wrap things up. I rambled quite a lot. Quite a lot. Talked about a lot of things I honestly really didn't expect myself to talk about or express, but it just feels right. And that's what I gotta do, is just follow my heart and do what feels right. Even if it feels anxiety-inducing at times, or maybe even useless, like what am I even doing right now? Oh well. We're just doing it. We're just here. Alright, so we're just waiting for this ICBM to be completed. See, look, this kind of technology, this warmongering technology, tanks and mechs and weapons and, well, really the weapons of mass destruction. Now these things, they really don't have a place in the real world. I mean, they do, but they don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, as we've seen in history in the past 100 years, 50 years, whatever, yeah, okay, if one person invents nuclear technology, well, you better have some balance there, some, you know, mutually assured whatever. It's just like, bruh, like, is that really what humans came here to do? Is just kill each other endlessly, enslave each other endlessly? Like, no, that's not what we came here to do. So then why is that what we see happening throughout history, and especially today? You know, honestly, the entire modern world, capitalism, whatever, you know, whatever system you're under, just take it back to the only thing that I will ever quote from Rick and Morty is slavery with extra steps. And I'm sure that's been said before. I'm not even saying that's an idea that Rick and Morty created. And plus, you know, that show went down the drain as soon as what they did to Justin Roiland. But anyway, beyond that, it's slavery with extra steps. Like especially when you're convinced that the working class is not being enslaved. Like, if you're convinced that that's not true, that's how you know it's working. That's how you know it's really, like, effective. Like, oh, like, yeah, if you don't even think that you're being treated as essentially a slave in the modern world, then they got you. They got you good. If you can't even see past that, then they really got you good. It just proves it even more. Alright, so there's some pushback here from the hostile powers, but we have this secret weapon. Yeah, I don't even have my commander. Don't even need it. Don't even need it. Now, okay, if we lose all of our commanders, then it's GG, but I think we're chilling. Oh yeah, dude, it's literally about to be over as soon as this is done. So, I mean, yeah, I pretty much rambled. Oh yeah, the only, I guess, last thing, so I did make that video, quitting vaping, day 2. That was 3 weeks ago. So now I'm 3 weeks quitting vaping. It's not. It has not been easy. In fact, there has been times where I just wanted to just not do anything. Like, I mean, yeah, there's been a lot of times where I just slept almost all day or just sat around, did nothing, just trying to deal with the cravings, deal with the madness, deal with the withdrawals of nicotine. It has sucked. But it just all happened, dude. It's like, okay, well, I quit my job. You know, I've got some money saved up. I'm not like screwed. But if I don't plan things out and like, you know, budget things correctly, like, yeah, I am kind of screwed. So, you know, that was really a big part of it. Was just like, okay, well, you know, this is not a sustainable practice, both for my health and financially. Oh, and that's GG. Would you look at that? The nuke didn't even have to drop. And we won.
Battle ended.
I think that'll come in here in a few oh, here it comes. See, the bots are great. Wonderful. So, you know, that's just a little ramble I just felt like doing, so. Anyways, I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure not very many people will watch it, but that's fine. It's just a form of expression, so. Anyways, I'll have more stuff going on soon, but for now, that is all, so I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.